This is the latest home that we just finished. It's our Dover farmhouse. It's a very customized kitchen. I think this is a good opportunity to talk about important things in the kitchen and what you should think about as you design and lay out your kitchen. We have workspaces, we have storage, we have lighting, we have appliances, and all should be thought about as you design your kitchen. Let's start talking about the island first. I think anytime you can have an island is a great opportunity to add some space and some surface to your kitchen. And there's a couple of things that are important to islands. I think width is important if you can get some width on this. And in this kitchen, we show a sink in the island. Some people would rather have a sink on an outer wall. This kitchen happens to be internal, but we have a lot of natural light and view. So we put the sink in the island so you can look out, instead of having a window above the sink. In fact, if you have a window above the sink, what I always recommend is having a crank out window, because it's hard to lift a window, and so with a crank out window it opens and closes, and that works really well. In this case, we have the sink in the island. Now, because the sink in the island is, we've expanded the depth of the island to almost 4 feet, and that way somebody can comfortably sit behind the sink and actually have a space. And this island acts as a great definition between the workspace and the casual friend sitting there. 4-foot island can really create that definition of space where you have 2 feet for the workspace and you have 2 feet for the guest, or if you're setting a buffet or something like that out on the island. It expands the useful working space of the island. We used to have overmount sinks. You don't see them that much anymore, so maybe that's a moot point at this point, but the undermount sink is great because things can just be wiped into it. And as you're thinking about the layout, I always think it's very important to have a dishwasher next to the sink, because this becomes something that is very usable. As you think about your layout of your cabinets, there's a lot of special features you can do with your cabinetry. And again, thinking about how you use them. From, if you've got a cooktop, I think it's a really wonderful feature is putting drawers underneath here so that you can put your pots and pans in. To the drawers becomes very easy. In an area where you do a lot of your cooking, there's a lot of wonderful spice racks, built-in spice racks that you can do that makes life very easy. In the area of your kitchen sink, I always love to have a pull-out trash and recycle bin. I think that works really well. Also, lots of times you got your hands full, and so the idea of shutting the drawer, the self-close doors and drawers really make life a lot easier. Another feature, if you're able to, that I think is nice is think about the location of your pantry. What is the access to your pantry? And sometimes you got to go around a corner, but if you can make it more integral to your kitchen, because there's things you're just not going to put in your cabinets. They may be bigger or they may be less usage, that type of thing. So in this kitchen, we actually happen to be able to put our pantry in between the working zones, which I really like. And so it makes that access extremely easy and integral to the kitchen, so you don't feel like you have to walk around. You're not going into the back hall or something like that. It's integral. And again, this is, as you're laying it out, sometimes I think it's actually worth taking cabinets away if you can create a better pantry into the area, because you can do the storage. And in this case, what we did is we played with the color of the door to match the cabinetry. Although also we've done kitchens where we actually did full height cabinet doors and you wouldn't even realize it's a walk-in pantry. You just open these big doors that look like cabinet doors and you go into the pantry. It's a great way to hide it. As we're talking about cabinet storage, this kitchen happens to have 54-inch uppers, and so it's got some extra cabinets up there, and you might be laughing saying, well, how am I going to get up there? Well, you're right, you're going to need a little step ladder, but there's things that you may only need once or twice a year, and so why take up usable, easy access space with stuff that you hardly ever use? You can put some storage up there, and quite honestly, I think they look really nice. This home happens to have a hood over the cooktop. When you've got gas appliances, you're wanting to run your hood to get some of the fumes out. Just as important as getting some steam or the cooking smells out, getting the CO out. So always be running your hood when you're doing your cooking. Sometimes you'll have a built-in microwave that acts as your hood, and that becomes a very easy work environment, very close by. And as you can see, one of the things you always want to have areas where you can set things onto the countertop from the stove that you're working from, which is important. Also, in this home, we've got the built-in cooktop. We actually have a combination oven and microwave. And what I always recommend with this is you want to make sure you have space that you can open and you've got some workspace so that if you're taking something out of the microwave and have something a place that you can easily set where you don't have to take multiple steps to get to. In fact, we've got an area here and we actually expanded a countertop here. So if somebody was pulling something larger out, it's easy to set down, or as I said, it's easy to set down here. And finally, in the kitchen, lighting. Task lighting is so important, and in this kitchen we actually have a couple of different examples. We've got our under cabinet strip lights, which I really like the strip lighting. Instead of the older hockey pucks style, which become very defined, with the strip lighting it gets much more even lighting. We've got lighting from the hood. In this one we've got some great pendant lights that create task lighting for the island. And the other is some recess lighting to drop light down in. Think about where you're placing your recess lights so that you're not casting a big shadow. But again, that's where task lighting can really help out with that. So as you're thinking about your kitchen, we're thinking about what type of appliances, we're thinking about how we locate our sink, how we're going to use that, thinking about our working space zones where we're setting things, thinking about our cabinets, what kind of storage, what kind of usage, what makes your cabinet easier to use, where's your pantry location, and also your general lighting. All of these come together to make a really wonderful kitchen, and they are all things that you should be thinking about as you design your new kitchen.